try to slow down next time you use Google. Slow down and think about what query you're using, what Google knows about you, what results are showing up, and why.
Josh, thank you so much for being with us today. And this is a topic I have developed a passion for because I feel like it is such a crucial component to marketing that's honestly often overlooked, which is why we've called this episode Demystifying SEO. And it's often overlooked because it feels a little bit ethereal. I think there's a lot of noise around what SEO is, and we're going to cut through all the noise today and hear from you, someone who lives and breathes the topic of SEO, and you're going to package up for us. What do we need to know? How do we cut the crap? How do we get to the real stuff that's actually going to drive results for our brand? So thanks for being with us.
Pleasure. I love talking about SEO, and if there's anyone willing to listen to me talk about it, I'll show up.
An active audience to talk about SEO. This is your dream. Well, I want to know first, why are you passionate about SEO so much to the extent that you've built a whole company around it?
This is going to sound really, I don't know, dumb might not be the word. When I was young, I believed in all these as I still do, these very progressive, very things about people's, the citizens' access to information. Okay. Wikipedia, yes. When I first graduated, Wikipedia was just, I graduated college. Wikipedia and the internet were just really becoming a very household thing, late 90s. Mm-hmm. Access to information was really happening. And I saw all these struggles, these fledgling democracies. This is very high-minded for an SEO guy. I thought the internet could be this place for people to access information. There were so many websites where they were hard to get to, hard to use, hard to get the information from. If you want to cook a recipe or know who to vote for or any of these things, I thought the internet, or where to go, what was a good business, what was a bad business, what was a good restaurant, what was a bad one, like all of these topics should be really, really shorthanded, and it can make a better society. It could make it could make commerce better, it could make cities better, it could make countries better, and all of these just with people knowing more things, having more ability to understand the world around them. And I really got into that idea. Jimmy Wales, the Wikipedia founder, is a big hero of mine. And he set up this scenario where the world can access information. And now I kind of I'm for hire for companies. So their customers or potential clients can get to their information, because people design websites and make websites and people can't get to them. They can't get found. So that's sort of why, that's the long answer why I do SEO and why I like it so much.
It's a beautiful answer for why do you love SEO? It really is. And it's important as somebody who sits in the seat and carries the responsibility of making sure that our website is seen by more people. It's a very core felt need for any marketer, because you could spend all of this time, all this energy building this beautiful website and all of this other, marketing collateral. But if nobody's finding it, and if people are asking questions on the internet trying to find you, but those wires aren't connected, then both parties are missing out, right? So what you do is so critical in helping businesses grow, but also helping the people out there, the world, find what they're looking for. So thank you for that explanation. It just, when you hear somebody talk about something they're passionate about, it just helps you see it in a new way as well. So I'd love to zoom in a little bit and ask if you would explain your perspective on how SEO and PPC complement each other within a broader marketing strategy.
Yeah, so PPC is this amazing tool, and it's why Google's worth trillions, because the advertisers only pay per click. Long or gone are the days where you put up a billboard and you don't know if it works, right? Okay, maybe that worked or not. You put up a PPC ad, it's predictable. A lot of SEO is less predictable a lot of the times. Put a budget up, you get clicks only when people click on that ad and are on your website. You get the data of all of that. You get geographic data, search data, conversion data. You get all of that, and you can take a PPC campaign, Google search ads campaign, and just use all that data and say, okay, our conversion rate and geographies and market difficulties and all this data, and just apply to SEO and sort of have like half your blueprint ready to go. You can have assurances in, okay, should we sell shoes or sandwiches? Well, People buy shoes on the internet at a rate of 50%. And so let's do that. Let's focus on that. And I've had clients use their PPC campaigns largely for data gathering to do an SEO campaign. So they work hand in hand that's one of a million ways, but mostly PPC and SEO work really well together. When there's a market difficulty with SEO, you do PPC, or high level market difficulty with SEO. If you're going up against IBM with PPC, and IBM's not in the SEO market, they're just not a strong competitor for organic traffic, that's a no-brainer. So you have to use them. You can use them both seamlessly, or you can use one with the other. There's probably 50 other ways to do it.
That's really helpful, just to lay the groundwork even for some of what we'll continue to dive into. But I'd like to shift a bit to understand, beyond just content, what are some of the technical considerations that have to be kept in mind when it comes to successful SEO? It might be site speed, indexing, metadata, etc.
There's a few really big technical SEO things that are crushing when I see them. So if your redirects are bad, or if your index, no index tag, or your canonicals are bad, your do follow, no follow, if there's those core things, if you move a site and it doesn't know where your URL is, robots.txt file, sitemap. That's the core list of when we go into a site, we say, are these good? Because if they're not, your whole site can get just wiped off Google. Your business could drop. If you, in your header files, you say, do not follow this website, Google, and this happens a lot when people are working on a beta site, they say your robots.txt file, do not follow any of this content on the website, and accidentally gets launched. And then people wonder a few months later why their business is dying. It's like this one little file. That's a killer. So there's this core sort of batch 4 or 5 things that we look at really quickly off the top. And then the rest of the technical SEO is just a long list of things. So like site speed includes probably 20, 30 elements in itself. There's just tons of things. But the most common one we come up against that we try to work around is content that is hidden. So you have a little drop down or a little pop up or something like that. It's really clever, nice way to design a site, but Google can't see it. What they want is a page on Wikipedia, just flat out images and text. There you go. Easy for a robot to understand. But a lot of common design techniques are drop downs, show hide, that sort of thing. Technically, Google can crawl that by executing the JavaScript file, but they don't. In my experience, they just don't want to. That's a big one when we're talking with people. Oh, you're redesigning your site. Put text on the page.
Yeah, it's really fascinating because this is such a huge critical pain point, really. And people may not realize that the issues that they're experiencing are SEO related, honestly, like some of these solves. Because when you want to design a beautiful website, it's often like the secondary conversation, or maybe not even one until you realize something's broken after. But you would design this beautiful website, and then it's actually no good if you haven't really considered these things even first in what you're designing. So really fascinating, with the objective of how do we increase our authority on the internet, right? And again, engage the conversations that are happening, the things that people are searching for to make sure that they find us. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. So thank you for that overview. And then shifting a bit to, obviously, paid search is one piece of the pie in a healthy marketing plan, but it's a very important one. Tell me, what is your perspective on what percentage of a paid media plan should generally be allocated towards PPC specifically?
That's a great question. And I'm going to give you a non-answer. I'm going to give you a politician's answer on that.
Okay. It depends.
There's a joke in SEO, like every answer is it depends, but really your percentage of PPC budget should really depend on the results. I have had clients that they come to us for SEO and they say, why isn't our PPC working? Like, we're doing SEO. We want to do SEO because our PPC isn't working. Well, you're literally going up against Amazon, IBM. Okay. You can't outspend the competition. So that's one thing. That's one reason why you would look at decreasing your PPC budget, because the results aren't good. What if the results are really good? What if PPC is 20% of your total advertising budget, but it's the clear market winner and you're driving tons of e-com sales or tons of leads? You want to open that up. You want to crack that wide open. So the real answer here is follow the data, follow what's successful. And then if it's successful, open it up. You can go in a Google Ads campaign and increase it that day or decrease it or turn it off or whatever that day. And you should know, you have enough data to know how successful it is. So read the data, have enough budget there to get enough sample data to understand how successful it is, and then open it up if it works. A really solid, just here's our budget, here's our ad spend for the entire year, and that's it. That might be limiting a ton of success. If I was a CMO and I just said, here's the budget numbers, they don't change from January to December, I would be in a tricky position because I would have to eventually pull from somewhere else and put it there or slow it down. It really depends on what you're getting from it.
Really interesting. Is this a common pain point or a problem when you have a client come to you, a business that says, oh, we heard you can help us with SEO, right? And you look under the hood. Is this a common issue just right out of the gate where you see that there's just, even from like a budget standpoint, people aren't even considering this as an essential component that needs its own line item? Or tell me a little bit about what you see when you do start to look under the hood and identify these issues.
I am continually shocked. This is rant time for me. Rant time.
Go
and I know
for it.
as an
You
SEO
have the
person, as an SEO person, of course, if you sold boots, you're like, why doesn't everyone buy boots? They're the best. But the internet works through Google largely now, and trillions of dollars of commerce go through Google. People know when they order Mexican food, when they buy pants, where to buy medicine and diapers in your city. People know how they use the internet. It's through Google. And yet when I'm working with large clients, sophisticated national brands, they're like, yeah, we're thinking about doing SEO. We're busy doing other things. And and now we're getting to it. And I'm just like, we all know how we use the internet. It's like you drive to work every day and then you say, we're thinking about putting in a road. Tell me about roads. It's like they've been there the whole time.
Right.
It's how everyone does everything. Now considering, now in 2024, considering the opportunities, it's really mind-boggling to me. And I think it's just not built into marketing culture in certain organizations, industries, or school for that matter. People don't learn in university how to effectively use SEO, marketing degree 15 years ago. So I wouldn't imagine like a CMO would say, everyone's playing catch up. It boggles my mind that everyone knows how they personally use the internet.
Right.
But it's only when I show a demo of, let's Google something, your competitor shows up, they make $15 million a year by doing this. Do you want to do it? And then they see it in real time and then they get it.
Yeah, that's where the light bulb comes on, is that competitive, the juices start flowing, right? And you see your competitor dominating in this space. That's really interesting, especially from a challenger brand perspective where we have to outthink when we can't outspend. SEO is one of those pieces that you can use, a tool really to outthink your competitor potentially, and not minimal effort. It's focused effort, I guess you could say, in the SEO lane can really yield some significant results to get you ahead in the race. And so I'd love to just kind of zoom in a little bit more on that. And it's from an angle, the question, I guess you could spin it on the positive side, but we'll take the negative side. Since Status Bureau was founded, which is your agency that you founded and lead in Vancouver, Canada, was founded in 2006. I'm sure, of course, SEO practices, to your point, are only getting more sophisticated, and that the PPC world even is getting more competitive. Do you think that most CMOs are even aware of how behind they are in the arms race? And it's kind of a wake-up call in some ways.
Yeah, I don't think most people are aware, but organizationally, it's difficult to change a culture. So even if they do become aware, moving that needle could be difficult for them to do. That's what I get a lot of the time. Is there was a survey years ago that said, how easy is it for your SEO changes to take place on the site? Like how long you provide the recommendations? When do the recommendations get published? Way too many people said a year or more. So if you're working at a large organization, enterprise, SEO is in a long list of things for web teams and people to do. So even if people are behind, they should be aware of how behind they are. Like any good
Okay.
CMO should have all the data to support what they're doing. But even moving that needle can be, you have to move a mountain or two.
That's fascinating. That's actually not the answer I was expecting, but it's the most obvious one. I see that around the culture piece of it and making sure that, you as a CMO, you're having to embrace a growth culture as well and inspire your team towards that. And I do think it's interesting what you said about the data that causes the light bulb to go on for your clients. The same could be for the CMO of like, how do you bring people along? Well, show them that same information, of how our competitor is winning and get all of your team's wheels turning in that way to help inspire around SEO, which could easily end up on a long laundry list of things that need to be done. But if you bump it up to the top, you would argue that the results will speak for themselves, huh?
Yeah, I would say it really gets prioritized when people notice their business dropping because there's a new brand in the market. There's a new challenger brand that is new. There's a new credit union. There's a new shoe company. There's a new food product that is eating up their market share. That's when organizations get really aware of their SEO results.
Okay, that's really, really interesting. And that's when you get the call, huh? And that's when you get to step in.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
This episode of Listen Loudly is brought to you by Door Number 3, a growth marketing firm for challenger brands. Door Number 3 works with scale-up and enterprise-level brands who have a mandate to grow. We help them shift from accidental to intentional growth through performance media and brand development. If you need a growth strategy and execution partner, visit dm3austin.com or give us a call. We look forward to talking to you.
So what would your advice be to a CMO or organization that feels like they're behind or out of their element with SCM? And are there some easy to implement like best practices that anyone can apply to their brand?
Yeah. I've been talking about the difficulties of getting SEO off the ground for some people. Maybe that's just a current theme that I'm experiencing now, but a lot of people don't take into consideration the off-page influence. So I think it's easy enough to hire an SEO shop, get good data, get a technical SEO shop that'll give you real market data to understand your position and give you like a really good roadmap. This is how long it would take to get results. This is how to do it. But most CMOs, I think, are unaware of the off-page influence in SEO. And that's usually a big learning curve because Google can see the on-page stuff. Oh yeah, you write content, you make your site really fast, technically proficient. A lot of these people don't realize that if you do a lot of great PR, a lot of great branding, a lot of off-site stuff, your SEO is going to sing. It's going to work. If I was to give any advice, it would be to like how a CMO, like a quick few things. Do your SEO, get your data. That's almost the easy part, the off-page stuff, the PR stuff. Google wants to know if you're good, and a really great way to know if you're good is if you win awards, if you're in the news, if people are talking about you. That's the biggest part of SEO. If I was a CMO, I would get old school. Hire a technical SEO shop and get some great branding, great PR.
Fascinating. I love that connection between the two. Like they're not siloed. You and PR connecting it back to SEO is fascinating to just hear you tie those two together for us, where it's often very separate conversations almost in separate lanes, separate line items, but how do they fit together? It makes a lot of sense. So thank you. What are some of the common SEO mistakes that companies make? And how can CMOs avoid these pitfalls?
I think, we touched on, your technical stuff, your robots, your canonicals, your redirects, those sorts of things. But a common mistake just sort of in the planning and engineering process of an SEO campaign, a lot of people rely on passive data analysis. So they get a lot of reports, they have their SEO company or their marketing company or whoever give them reports. And by analyzing the reports, they spend a lot of time, money, and energy on this data part. If you use all your time, money, and energy to get new things published on the website, get more PR, get more new content, get that ball rolling, you shift the focus from analysis to production. A lot of the times it's split 50-50. I've seen a lot of when people I get reports from the previous agency that our clients were hired for. And there's a steady no growth system. And it's because a lot of the effort has just been in reports, meetings, analysis. It's not a proactive hunting for better
Okay.
results. And if
Okay.
you can, as a CMO, say, listen, I'm not spending more than like 15% of budget on analysis. I need actual change. I need people spending their time and energy on enacting change. How do we do that? Because so many folks fall into that scenario of SEO is about reading data, and it's not. It's about like writing your butt off. It's about doing this PR. It's about changing and consistently improving. It's just that it takes a little bit more time to do. But I think that's probably the biggest mistake I see.
How interesting. And do you think that these mistakes have kept companies from succeeding is the question. I think the obvious answer would be yes, but what would you say of how you see companies really stuck in this cycle and it impedes their results? And then I guess how would you get them unstuck from that?
Yeah, it's hard to get people unstuck. Human behavior is rooted
Yeah.
in predictability, in
Okay.
comfort, and those sorts of things. I think you just have to show people the competition and their success. I think that's the part where you can really change behavior, because if you say your number one competitor is better than you, they're making more money. Maybe using jealousy
Yes.
as the switch, or maybe using envy or something like that as the propeller, or it's the way to propel them into change. I think that's actually easy. You can get people unstuck, no problem. It's just finding that rationale and that reason.
Yeah.
If you give sort of broad theoretical answers or
Yeah.
suggestions, people go, okay. But if you say they make 6 and you make 2, they'll feel bad. They want
Fire
to
them
be.
up. Right.
Everybody wants to be
Yeah.
better, the best. Everybody wants to feel proud of themselves and comfortable.
Yes.
So I think
Yeah.
given the right competitive data, people they unstick themselves so easily.
This is a really powerful concept, just leadership broadly, and coming out of course, the topic of SEO, but from a posture of growth. How do we lean in and produce? How do we really churn out positive energy that's going to move us forward when it is tempting to kind of go further into this like data and analysis, which is helpful, but I love this recommendation about 15%. Audit your time. Like, am I sitting in too many meetings looking over just data and analysis and really not actually putting all of my best energy and my team's best energy towards creation of even just content, like creating amazing, powerful, rich content, the PR piece of it, like refining the brand? Those are really positive inputs, and that can kind of get lost or deprioritized. So that's a really healthy way to think about it. Thank you for that insight. So I want to talk about AI, and I want to understand from you your thoughts on AI and how it will potentially ultimately create a more personalized search experience for users. And so how do you think that this will impact the way that companies approach SEM efforts?
I have a real contrarian opinion for AI.
Okay.
I just got back from the Collision conference in Toronto. Everything is AI. I saw a company pitching AI for like berries, like AI for growing berries or something.
Okay.
And it's just like, okay, it's AI is the hype. Google has been AI for 20 years. They've had an AI machine plugged in. It's not like someone is manually going good result, bad result. It's built a machine to learn human behavior and to re-rank things every millisecond based on its inputs. So Google has been AI this whole time. How AI applies to like search is that everyone can generate content now. Everyone can generate. I can generate 500 publish 500 articles on my website by the time I leave here today. So can all of my competitors.
Right.
So how AI affects this is AI is going to look off-site, and they're going to say, okay, what's the best company? This company publishes 500 garbage things a day. Are they any good? I'll look at what's not on their website. Are they in the Washington Post, New York Times, Miami Herald? They're driving up all this attention because they're the best thing in the market. Their founder and their people and their culture are doing these amazing things in the market, and they're getting attention for it. That's how AI applies to like Google, is that Google is the AI machine. It's going to ignore what's on your website more and more. It's going to look at it and go, categorically, what is this? But more and more, crystal ball sort of thinking here, it's going to look off your website. It's going to look at your reviews. Go look at Reddit. and say, people on Reddit trash this brand. They say it sucks. It doesn't deliver a good whatever. So the AI is actually going to read what's off your website and inform whether you should be a consideration or not.
Yeah, interesting. And that's why this is really intuitive, but also not obvious. It takes some deeper conversations like this, which is why we wanted to have this specific conversation called Demystifying SEO. I know it's going to be helpful for our audience of marketing executives, and just want to say thank you for helping to unpack all of this for us. And before we go, I want to switch gears to a fun question here, which is, can you guess the top 4 search queries from June 2022 to June 2024, the past 2 years?
In the US, I'm going to say Amazon, weather, Taylor Swift, and Temu.
Okay. Yes, none of those are on the list. Oh, Temu's on the list. Oh, interesting. Temu's on the list. Okay. Do you want the answers then? The 3 additional answers that you didn't have? Okay. ChatGPT. People are searching, what is ChatGPT? Temu, and then Connections, New York Times, and then Damar Hamlin. What is? You mean who is? American football player.
I know. Oh, NFL player. Okay.
Yep. How fascinating, isn't it? So, okay, tell me this, and then, this may make it into the episode or it may not, but when you see these 4 top search queries, how should any brand think about these terms? Is this something where you need to stretch to try to align your brand to catch the traffic from these 4 search queries, or just dive in a little bit to help me understand why search queries matter, where the keywords are that you need to care about for your brand, and kind of where that intersection is? It would be really, really interesting to hear you help us understand that.
Yeah, I've been doing some deep dives on Temu for a couple journalists, articles that might come out soon. So I've been doing a bunch of research on Amazon and Temu, probably why I mentioned that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's just millions of queries, millions, and they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month each.
Okay.
By looking at their market leaders, and they're spending millions of dollars. And these research tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush, you can use these tools to competitively search these companies and see what they're doing. And that data, like there's already market leaders doing it. You just nab their data, take it, use it. So I was surprised to see what low difficulty queries they were after. They're paying cents on the dollar for a lot of queries, especially Temu, because they were new to the market. So they want to show up for everything. They don't mind a little lost leaders here or there, or they don't mind just bidding on things just to get that first purchase.
Right.
But they have all the data in the world. If you do like some analysis on Temu, if you sell something that a big player like that is selling, they're giving you the blueprint. You can see their ads, you can see their searches, you can see their costs, you can see everything. So never work in a vacuum. There's already people doing a lot of effort and doing a lot of mistakes, and you can just jump in. They have learned the mistakes for you, and you can use all that information.
So helpful. Josh, thank you for being with us. And I would love to know if there's anything you want to leave with our audience of marketing executives, just a couple of takeaways of how you want to make sure we leave. How do you want us to feel? How do you want us to think differently as a result of what you know and what you have shared?
Try to slow down next time you use Google. Slow down and think about what query you're using, what Google knows about you, and what results are showing up and why. People don't think about what they're doing because it's like putting on a shirt. You just do it.
Okay.
But I would love for people to take a breath next time they use Google and just think, why did I use that search term? What was I expecting? How did Google know exactly to give me that great result? And why is this page so helpful for my result? What did they do to get there? It's so seamless now that people don't think about it. But I would love for people just to take a breath, think about that process. And I think it's good for people to know how companies are using our information, how information shows up, and what they can do maybe on for their own efforts to do something similar.
Okay. And then call you, right?
We'll
include the Status Bureau's website in the description for this episode. And then, of course, your LinkedIn as well. And you guys have been incredible partners for us already, just with door number 3, our advertising agency in Austin. SEO is not something that sits in our core capabilities, and it is your main core capabilities. So it's neat to have a partnership with you guys to be able to support brands across all of their needs. So thanks again, and give us a shout in the comments as you let us know what resonates with you, and we'll answer questions as we see them come through. Thanks, guys.